In this video, I will be teaching you 2 ways to think of structure for your own music. So starting with the first way, let's start with a structure which is quite old, but not at all outdated, and that is the Sonata-allegro form. Now, before you start yawning and clicking away, even if you're a songwriter, but especially if you are a classical composer, the Sonata-allegro form is crucial to know. So what is it? So basically, we have an introduction, like a lot of pieces, nothing special here, and then we move on to the exposition. Now the exposition introduces the main themes of the piece. Usually there are 2, are very distinct and almost oppose each other. The exposition is meant to introduce these 2 main themes in their most basic form. From there we go to the development section, which takes these themes, maybe just one of them, maybe all of them, and then develops them into different keys, into different meters perhaps, and basically you just get the chance to play around with it a bunch, develop your own ideas, and just have a lot of fun with it. From there, the development section goes to the recapitulation section, and this is basically where you bring back the main themes in their original form again, maybe with a few changes to keep things interesting, but overall very much the same to basically bring us back to where we started. And then from there, there is an optional coda. That was a lot of talking, that was a lot of explaining, but why is this form important? Why is the Sonata-allegro form important to know? Well, I think it's important to learn this form because it teaches you how to take some basic main ideas, some basic thematic material, and then develop it, because it is mandatory to have the exposition, the development, and then the recapitulation. It is mandatory to have at least those 3 parts in the Sonata-allegro form. So you could start with 1 theme, or go with 2 or even more. And if you're like some sort of songwriter, this old classical form may not seem to actually apply to you, but it still does, because even as a songwriter, you need to know how to develop your ideas and how to introduce them as well. And how a lot of songs using the verse-chorus form, which we will get to next, man, I'm really good at talking, and the verse-chorus form is a lot like another form, the Rondo form. And the Rondo form basically takes a main theme, a main A section, and then repeats it a bunch of times, but with more unique sections in between. So an example of a Rondo form would be A, B, A, C, A, with each letter representing its own section. This is a good way to go about it because you're able to ground the piece each time the A section comes back before bringing in a brand new section, the B or the C section, and then end things off exactly how it started. And that doesn't mean you can't develop the A section, just that it'll stay relatively the same. So now for part 2, this is gonna be where I tell you my method of how I create my own structures from scratch, and it's extremely simple, quite easy, and if you're a music nerd, probably fun too, because you're able to make your own musical structures, which probably aren't unique, but you thought of it at least. Anyways, so basically, when writing a piece of music, when I plan it beforehand, I usually have a bunch of moods in mind. So say, let's go with, I want this piece to convey sadness, anger, and happiness. From there, I take those moods and I lay them out in a order. So say we start with sadness, and then we get angry, and then we go back to sadness again before, instead of going back to the angry part, we go to a happy part. So using these moods, you can break it down into a more letter-based structure. So this would be A, B, A, C, with A representing sadness, B representing anger, and then C representing happiness. So right now I just want you to think of some moods, just lay them out, and then get letters from that, and those letters are the structure. And I mean, like, just think of something. Like, it is good to practice it right now. Just think of anything. I'll give you like 10 seconds. It's not that hard. It wasn't so bad. And I want you to say that it wasn't so bad to think of something like that, because it probably only took you a few seconds to think of something decent. And then from there, you can take that structure and turn it into a piece. This is where I go on a bit of a tangent about writing longer music. When I was first writing music, I couldn't really make anything beyond 3 or 4 minutes, simply because I didn't know how to structure my music, and like I didn't know how to plan things out beforehand. In fact, I never even really bothered learning how to do that. So if you're writing shorter music now, like 1, 2, 3 minutes long, then this is a great way to increase that length if that's what you want. If you think about it beforehand, and then you write it out, and then you execute that plan, it'll work out. I would say if like you were just starting composing pieces of music or even songs, and just start with the very basic structures like A, B, A, B, A, A, B, A, C works too. Maybe have intro, A, B, A, outro, just that sort of thing, so that you can learn how to develop themes, how to develop sections and stuff, and just get that down pat. And I highly recommend learning the sonata form. That's what I am learning right now. I am trying to get really good at writing with the Sonata-allegro form, because it's just a really great form of taking those base themes, you introduce them, you develop them, and then you bring them back as they were. It takes you on a musical journey just like that. If you want to learn more about this, trust me, the video which I'm pointing to is actually related. Let me see if I can actually point to it. There we go. So this video is actually related, because it teaches you how to plan out your music beforehand and how to finish what you start, and it goes into more detail about this whole structuring thing. So check out that video to learn more, and keep making better music.